Hi, I'm Jen Newton, the registered dietitian at the Sky Lakes Wellness Center. We're back in the kitchen today to look at another quick and easy and delicious meal. We're going to be doing a sheet pan meal today, and I love sheet pan meals because they're fast, they're easy, and they're really quick cleanup because we have one pan that we get to clean up. Today we're going to be doing ranch chicken tenders with asparagus. We are using frozen chicken tenders, really easy to have in our freezer. We can take out what we need and put the rest of it back in the freezer for next time. You can by all means use fresh chicken tenders if you desire. We are also going to be using some fresh asparagus. This happens to be in season and on sale, but again, you can substitute any other vegetable you desire. For seasoning our chicken and asparagus, we are going to be using our ranch seasoning mix. We used this a couple weeks ago to roast some chickpeas as well as roast some potato wedges. You can find the recipe for that on our Facebook page, the Sky Lakes Wellness Center. Now, to put all this together, we're going to be using our egg whites to use that as kind of our glue, if you will, to hold the breadcrumbs with our seasoning mixture on the chicken tenders themselves. So let's get started. So we're getting our chicken ready on the pan. Now I've lined a sheet pan with parchment paper, again, just to make that cleanup a little bit easier for us. I'm taking my chicken tenders and I'm just drenching them in this egg white. So basically I've taken 2 egg whites and added about a tablespoon of water to it and just whisked it together. And then I'm dredging it in my breadcrumb mixture where I've added my ranch seasoning to it. So I just want to coat it as much as I want to. I kind of like it, fairly well coated. And then I'm just going to put it on my baking sheet. Now at this point, I'm going to put my baking sheet into the oven before I add the asparagus to it because the asparagus is not going to take as long to cook as the chicken will. Now my chicken tenders are a little bit frozen, so I'm going to have to add a little bit of time to the cooking. If you're using fresh, you're generally going to cook it for about 12 to 15 minutes before you add the asparagus on there. We're going to cook it for about 15 to 18 minutes before we add the asparagus this time. We've cooked our chicken tenders for about 15 minutes, taken them out so that we can add our asparagus to it. So I've cut the ends off the asparagus just to make sure that I didn't have any really woody pieces, and I tossed them with a little bit of olive oil. That'll help them crisp up a little bit and just soften and let our seasoning have something to adhere to. So I'm using the same ranch seasoning mix that we use on the chicken on the asparagus. If that's too much ranch seasoning for you, by all means you can leave that off or just season it with a little bit of salt and pepper or a little garlic, which is always good. So I'm going to take about a tablespoon and just sprinkle it in here. And then I'm just going to toss this around. And then once I'm satisfied with how it's coated, I'm going to add them to the other side of our sheet pan, ideally kind of in a single layer so we can make sure it cooks as quickly as possible for us. Because I don't know about you, but about this time of night, I'm going to be pretty hungry. All right, so once we've got these added, we're going to put these back in the oven and we're going to cook them for about another 12 to 15 minutes. We want to make sure that our asparagus is crisp, but it's tender, and then we also want to make sure that our chicken is cooked all the way through. We're using a meat thermometer, which I always suggest. We want to make sure those are cooked to 165 degrees. Let's get these back in the oven. So we cooked this for another 15 minutes after adding our asparagus, and we've just taken this out of the oven, and it smells fantastic. So we'll now be able to put this on our plate and enjoy eating it. Again, we added the asparagus about 15 minutes into the cooking because the asparagus is not going to take as long to cook. If you're doing something like broccoli, again, you could add it about halfway through the cooking time. And we also used frozen chicken tenders, which meant that we needed to cook it a little bit longer as well. So if you're using fresh chicken tenders, you can expect your cooking time to be a little bit shorter, probably about 12 minutes, and then adding in any of these vegetables and then cooking it for another 12 minutes. So we'll put a couple of these on our plate. We can add a nice side salad to go along with this, and we have a beautiful, delicious dinner that will be very easy to clean up. Enjoy.